Welcome back to Good Morning Sri Lanka, back after that short break, and as promised we've replaced Ryan with a permanent, no we haven't, I was going to say with someone permanent, but he is not here to be with us permanently. He's just here to talk to us for a little while, and his name is Prassanna Pathmanathan, and of course he is a man with many hats. He does many things, of which two things that he does is he works in a communication consultancy firm, and he's also a lecturer at a private university, amongst the many things that you do. But today you're here to talk about something else. Good morning, Prassanna, and thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Rai.
Morning. Okay, so just to start things off, you've been involved in many things in your life, but today, like I said, we're here to talk about, at the very beginning of the show I said we're going to be talking a little bit about pageants, international pageants in general. There's a lot of misconception about pageants, the Sri Lankan fashion industry as a whole, or the modeling industry, or the pageant beauty industry. There's a lot of things going on, and we just want to talk to you about a couple of things. Now, you have been selected as a juror on in the Mr. Earth contest this year. How has that been for you to be picked as one of the first, if I'm correct, one of the first Sri Lankan jurors to be a part of a Mr. Earth pageant?
This is how it came in my way, Rai, where this particular organization, Mr. Earth, they have seen my fashion interviews and read about me in the net, and they contacted me, sent me an email saying that they don't get a contestant from Sri Lanka for this Mr. Earth pageant. So they asked me whether I would like to become the national director from Sri Lanka to send a candidate or a contestant for this particular international pageant, Mr. Earth. Then I said, yeah, of course I can, because I want to do something good, and I always wanted to, train and, send a right candidate for an international pageant. But then I sent they wanted my profile, so I sent my profile and all the information about me. Then they contacted me and said, the panel is like, the committee or the organization committee, they were impressed with my profile, with my academic backing, and the work that I did in fashion. So they asked me whether I would like to join as a jury for this year, 2011.
Yeah.
Then of course no one would say no for that.
Yeah.
Then I said, I was like, okay, cool. Then still they were like, we wanted to nominate you as a jury, not that to select you as a jury. I'm like, okay, fine. So they said there will be a couple of online interviews with you, and yes, I faced all those interviews, and then I have to do a paper. I have to write on as a jury what would be my responsibility. How would I assess the contestant? In what criteria I will judge them? Like all those information, or like I have to provide, and they were impressed. Basically with all what I gave, and then they appointed me as a jury this year.
That's very exciting, because honestly, when you're talking about being a juror in a part of a pageant, you would never think that you would have to do work. You think it's quite an easy job, you go there and then everything else happens. But obviously there's there's quite a lot of things that happen beforehand, huh?
A lot.
A lot.
Because when I got the agreement letter and my duty as a jury, I was like, oh my God, is this the way pageants happening in Sri Lanka? Okay. Because there's a lot. From the day one, where the pageant is taking for like 10 days, but the juries have to be there before the contestants arrive for the pageant. From the day that the contestants arrive from the airport till the day that they leave the country, the juries have to be with them to assess every single aspect of the contestant, their behavior, their etiquette, punctual, whether discipline, empathy, whether how they move with the other fellow contestants, their personality, then how they walk, how they talk, how they eat, and how they will be put into few projects, ecological projects, to see who's taking the leadership, who is motivated to do, the team working. Based on all this, and of course the basic other criteria in terms of looks and body, and how they are representing the garments that they wear, all those
There's
things.
a lot of things. There's a lot of things. You know, when you said initially that one of the first things that you want to do before you realized that you were being nominated as a juror was to find the right person from Sri Lanka. And obviously, there are lots of, you know, let's talk now a little bit about the modeling industry. What kind of background do you have, you know, with the modeling industry? What kind of exposure have you had to that, just so that everyone else can get an idea about what you do?
Well, I of course basically started as a writer, just normal writer, and I was writing for a few magazines. Then only I got an opportunity to write for this first online magazine. I think you interviewed me 3 years before on that called Agora. So I was just doing my writing and like interviews and things like that. Then for unavoidable circumstances, they have to close the magazine in Sri Lanka, and now they're operating from UK. But now I'm not a part of that particular magazine. Now I'm writing for few other fashion magazines over here. And I started as a columnist who will write about celebrities, interviews, and fashion shows. Then when I went into the fashion industry in terms of just reviewing about fashion shows and pageants, made contacts there, and was really got interested and saw loads of potential in terms of designers and models. Then I thought, okay, we should do something better, and I joined with certain people and did a few fashion shows here, which was made success once, and I started doing columns for fashion magazine in terms of introducing new designers, models, giving them an opportunity. Then recently I started styling for shoots, and quite entertaining and nice to be in the industry.
Interesting work here. We're talking about many different things. We're talking about the fashion industry. You're talking about, you know, going back to talking about models. You know, a lot of Sri Lankan models have achieved international status. They've done very, very well for themselves. And unfortunately, or I think we're progressing somehow, where we're beginning to see that industry as being quite responsible industry, you know, in itself, because a lot of people still don't really take that industry as seriously as perhaps some other countries or the rest of the world. So what do you have to say about that?
Well, we have achieved quite a lot. Now we are still a small country in terms of fashion, and there's not much work for the models over here, to be honest, in terms of paid work. So you cannot take this as a full-time career. But still, we have done a lot, achieved quite a lot. Where Hemal Ranasinghe, he went to compete in this Best Male Model of the Year pageant, and he won the pageant in 2009. Nadika went and won the same pageant in 2007. Then
I think Fallon also did
Fallon
well.
in 2008, she was, I think, the first runners-up. And recently this guy Anuj, he went and he also was nominated as the first runners-up. And even Miss World pageant, although not most of us know about it, but even our candidates, the contestants have done quite well. Where Gamya Vijayadasa, she became 22nd out of all the contestants. And for the first time she got the, you know, she was able to perform our national dance in the final gala event. And on top of that, Roshan Ranavana, everyone knows him as an actor, but is in the top pillar of achieved a big thing for the country. I can't exactly recall the year, but he became third or the second runners up in the Best Model of the Year, one of the biggest model pageant in the world. But how many people know about it?
I mean, our Sri Lankan models definitely have done Sri Lanka proud. But again, talking about misconceptions with being a model, a lot of people I think would like to very randomly call themselves models, and a lot of modeling agencies have appeared, and there's a lot of talk about modeling, but how much of it is really credible and how much of it should be really taken seriously is another question. So I'm going to ask you that. How much of what we see in the world of modeling should be taken seriously, and how much of it can we kind of hold back from and be a little careful about? Sorry to put you on the spot there, but that's a question that a lot of people have in their minds, you know. Where do we draw the line?
Well, the thing is, like, if you have the looks and like, you know, now it's like being like a crazy kind of a thing, like that everyone wants to be a model. And even I used to get calls and messages in Facebook asking whether can you give us a chance to become a model. So it's been, I don't know what's this all thing about, but not that everyone can become a ramp model. But you know, easily anyone can become a photogenic model or a commercial model.
Yeah.
Because if you have the right face and if you can, you know, present yourself well, of course you can be a commercial model, because I recruit models for my commercials and all the work that I do for my clients.
Yeah.
But you cannot become a ramp model.
Yeah.
Right? Because you need that, like, you know, that the body, the right perfect shape, and then the height, and you know, you should have that look, and on top of everything you should be able to carry whatever the garment that you are wearing on the ramp. So that stage presence is really important in terms of a ramp model. And also there was another misunderstanding, I don't call it misunderstanding, like a opinion that you can be a model if you walk on the ramp for once, which is totally wrong. Where most of our models over here, they have got themselves trained professionally under various choreographers and the trainers. But over here now, the newcomers, not everyone, but most of them, they think they can be a top model if they walk on the ramp, which is not correct. So they should know to draw the line and to get themselves trained professionally to enter the industry.
Modeling is a very serious career, and of course in different parts of the world it's you know, if like you said, if there's a lot of paid work, then it becomes an extremely serious job that becomes the focus of your attention. A lot of people who are in pageants and who are competitive about it, of course, also are very careful about it. We do have to wrap up our conversation. I know we had so much to discuss, but at this point in time, do you have any last words for an aspiring model, for someone who wants to be a part of a pageant or is thinking that they have the poise and the looks and the intelligence to be a part of a pageant like that? Any last words, any comments that you would want to make to someone like that?
Yeah, don't think if you have the look and if you have the body that you can be a model, but try to get yourself trained professionally. And also in terms of pageants, we are not looking only as a model, we are looking at the total package in terms of personality, your behavior, your attitude, your etiquette, everything.
Yeah.
So try to acquire knowledge from whatever the possible way.
Yeah.
Get yourself trained in all the areas possible, then of course you will shine well.
Those are good words, and with that we are going to say thank you very much for coming. We wish you all the very best, and hopefully we'll see you here and you'll update us more on all the things that you have been up to. We've been talking to Prassanna Pathmanathan. Thanks again for being on our morning show.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. All right, we need to take a quick break. When we come back, yes, Ryan will be back in just a bit.